Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to Coroner Reviews Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 4, Spoils of War. As always, with every one of these videos, if you like what I have to say, if you have something to say, you got thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications, and I'm going to keep churning these out because I'm really happy with kind of the sort of schedule I get with these. I can always watch Game of Thrones. I've been noticing recently my WWE content is lacking, but that's my fault, so. But back to Westeros, where once again we have House Stark trying to put itself back together, and in this case I'm talking about Arya finally making her way back to Winterfell. With Sansa already there, Littlefinger also, and Bran being also there, we kind of get the sense that the whole family of Starks is being as reunited as possible. The scene in this case, Arya comes up to the front gates and the guards don't believe she is who she is. They believe Arya Stark is dead. She asks to see Sir Roderick or Maester Luwin, and neither are there anymore. She asks to see Jon Snow because she knows he's king in the north and he's at Dragonstone, so she says, go tell Sansa, and she's like, and the guard's like, no, fuck off, get out of here. And both of the guards are growing more and more impatient as time goes on, as this drags on. And it's at this point she says, listen, you go tell her I'm here. If I'm not who I claim to be, I've wasted my time. But if Lady Stark finds out that you turned her sister away... So they go to lead her into the castle, and they get past the front gates, and Arya's looking around Winterfell, and they're arguing amongst themselves. The two guards are arguing amongst themselves who is to go tell Lady Stark, and as they're arguing, they've stopped paying attention to Arya, and she vanishes from under their sight. So we have the two guards then telling Lady Stark, listen, she got in, she disappeared, we don't know where she is, and Sansa's like, I know where she's at. We get a scene in the crypt where Arya and Sansa are reunited. They share a hug. They start talking about, kind of, in a general sense, their own stories. Like, did you really kill Joffrey? Sansa, no. Wish I did, but I didn't. Yeah, me too. I was kind of angry when I heard somebody else had done it, because I always wanted to kill him, and he was and no matter how long my list got, he was always first on my list. Your list of people I'm gonna kill, and this is thing where nobody believes that Arya is going to kill the entire line of people she's said she's going to kill. So she then, Sansa then tells Arya, hey, Bran's home as well. So they go see Bran. Bran's got the Valyrian steel dagger that was used in an attempt to try and kill him. He got it from Littlefinger. And I think one of the smart lines, because they shared a scene where Littlefinger and Bran are talking, and Bran says, "Chaos is a ladder." Yeah, it really is. Depends on what it's leaning on as to what end it serves. The girl that traveled with him, I completely forgot her name. I'm terrible. I'm sorry, guys. I'm probably the worst. But the girl that had been traveling with her, says she wants to go home because the White Walker army is coming. The Night King is coming. So she wants to be with her family before the end. And so it's at this point where Bran's like, "No, yeah, I get that." She's like, "That's it? Thank you? I almost died for you. My brother died for you. Hodor died for you. Summer died for you, and all I get is a thank you? You're not Brandon Stark anymore." Brandon then turns it, "I suppose I'm not. I've seen so many things. You died back in those caves, didn't you? I suppose so. Goodbye." So we get this sense that because he's become the Three-Eyed Raven, he's no longer just Brandon Stark. He is the amalgamation of both Brandon and the Three-Eyed Raven before him. So it's definitely interesting to see where this goes. And Brandon, upon meeting Arya, gives her the Valyrian steel dagger, and she's like, "Are you sure you don't want this? It's wasted on a cripple." "Yeah, suppose so." So she takes the Valyrian steel dagger, and a little later we see Lady Brienne training with Podrick, and it's at this point Arya comes into the yard. She's now wearing the Valyrian steel dagger and needle, and she's like, "Oh, well, would you spar with me?" "Well, I really think I should go get the Master at Arms if you want to train." "No, the Master at Arms didn't kill the Hound. I want you to train me. Train with me. I'd be kind of, I don't want to hurt you. I promise I won't cut you." She's got needle out. She's in the water dancing stance, and she starts sparring with Lady Brienne of Tarth. And at first, Brienne doesn't think, anything of it. Doesn't take her really seriously. In fact, her first strike was just, "Okay, I'm gonna send this girl away real quick. No harm. Just get her away." And it was so lazy that Arya had time to strike both sides of the sword before pointing needle at her neck. It's like, I know what I'm doing. Come on, give me a challenge. So from there, you see a nice progressive build of combat until Brienne actually puts a boot in the middle of Arya's chest. She does a kip up, and she pulls out the Valyrian steel dagger because she's lost needle. She then goes back into fighting, and I think it was after she'd drawn the dagger, Brienne clamped on her hand. She drops it into her other one. She's right there. And at the end of it, because she was poised to thrust downward, and Arya had her with the dagger. And at the end, she's like, "Who taught you how to fight like that?" No one. So this is a scene that also sees Littlefinger and Arya observe that. Not Arya, Sansa observe that. So because Bronn also lends credence to Arya's list, I think this yet further demonstrates that Arya is supremely dangerous, is a very skilled assassin. Maybe not the best in the world, but definitely skilled. And any name left on her list, which I still have to go through, I don't have that list, but any name on her list is probably going to die very, very soon. We get yet further scenes from Dragonstone where Jon shows Daenerys the massive stockpile of dragon glass underneath Dragonstone. He's like, "Yep, this is all I could ever need as far as dragon glass goes. It's more than enough, but we don't have the soldiers to fight. So I need your help. There's something else I want to show you." And he goes back, takes her even further in the caves, and shows her the cave drawings from the Children of the Forest. It's basically just hieroglyphics and cave paintings. And at the end of it, she's like, "Well, if the Children of the Forest existed at the same time as the first men, were they fighting? What's going on with this?" No. They were allies, because you also see a painting of the White Walkers. Listen, they had a common enemy. They fought the common enemy. They banded together, and that's what we need to do now. It has to stop. We have to stop them. So Daenerys is like, "No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I would fight for the North. I would fight for our people as soon as you bend the knee. You need to stop thinking about your pride and start thinking about your people, if you really think this is a thing." And at first, when I was watching this, I thought, this is the point where he's gonna bend the knee. This is the point where Jon goes, "I don't have a choice. The only option I honestly have is to go on ahead and side with Daenerys and side with somebody who's about to just demolish everything as soon as she gets her traction. It's time to really do what's best for the North." And when Jon Snow wouldn't do it, the second thought I had was, why doesn't he just, why doesn't Daenerys or Jon just go, "Listen, we're both set on our course. I don't want the Iron Throne. I want no part of it. Hell, if I could take everything south of this point here and just shove it off the globe and never deal with it again, I absolutely would. But because it's part of the Seven Kingdoms, and the Seven Kingdoms are my home, and the North is my home, I have to do what's best. And the best thing for now would be to cement your leadership on this side of the ocean with me. Marry me. You marry Jon Snow to Daenerys, and yes, before you start, he's a Targaryen. No, I know. But the Targaryen line is so convoluted that even he didn't know. And he's not full-blood Targaryen. So, by marrying Daenerys Targaryen and not bending the knee, he saves face, saves himself a lot of headache, gets the allies he needs, she gets the allies she needs, she gets him to, gives him something in return for his unquestioning loyalty and wants no part of the throne. Hell, she could go to King's Landing with the armies and all this and take it, and Jon Snow would go back north. He'd be like, listen, yeah, you take the Iron Throne, that's cool, that's yours, I don't care, I'm going home. Another thing is, he could take the Stark name. It'd be official. It'd be fine. But the next thing we see is Theon. They come out of the caverns, and Tyrion and Varys have brought the news that while they took King's Landing, Jaime took Highgarden. And Theon finally lands, and with Jon right there, I'm like, he's gonna beat him to death. No weapons, but he will beat the fuck out of Theon. And I was waiting for it, and he suddenly takes a couple steps forward. Theon's like, hi Jon. He goes to walk forward, gets grabbed by the lapel with one hand and pulled, and he's like, listen, what you did for Sansa is the only reason I'm not killing you right now. What happened? Well, my sister got taken by Euron. I came to ask for the Queen to help me out, to help recover her. Can't. Queen's gone. Where'd she go? We then smash cut to Jaime Lannister talking with one of his generals, who says, the gold's already in King's Landing, don't worry about it, we just got to get this granary finished emptying, and we also have to get the farmers to, pull in what they got. And Bronn's like, well, I got my gold, but you still haven't fulfilled your promise. I don't have any land. I don't have a castle. He's like, oh no, the more you own, the more it weighs you down, the more you're going to be depressed. Oh, is that why you're so grumpy? Listen, I could take Highgarden. It's available. You don't want this. If you try and take that castle, Daenerys will come and burn you out. Because she's coming. It's what I would do. The only thing Jaime didn't see coming was the Dothraki horde. Because Bronn, while they were trying to load everything up and trying to slowly make their way, they could hear hoofbeats approaching. And they, form up, got the wall there, and suddenly the Dothraki horde stretches across the horizon, and they're coming, and they can see them. They're like, all right, well, we got to fight Dothraki. Not so much, because in comes Drogon. Daenerys riding him. Fireball there, breaks that wall, and we get the reclamation and decimation of the Lannister army at the hands of the Dothraki, and the only thing that probably positively came out of this would have been Bronn proving that the ballista built by the Grand Maester actually works, but it only works to a certain extent. And with the army fairly routed, I'm talking ashes and dead bodies, Bronn's first shot missed. The second shot, because Daenerys came about again to try and destroy it, hits Drogon in the wing. He manages to, get himself leveled out, burns the ballista, and then when he lands, tail whips it and crushes it. Jaime sees Daenerys trying to pull the Quirrell out of the wing, decides it's time to kill Daenerys because she's unprotected. The dragon's busy being hurt. I'm gonna get her. And Tyrion, with Varys and the Dothraki general, are standing on the ridge, and he's like, "Don't do it, dude. Don't do it. Don't do it, you idiot." But he picks up the spear like he's gonna ride her down, and Drogon's head just turns, opens the mouth. You can see the fire coming, and he's like, "Oh, this might be where Jaime dies." Foosh. Jaime gets knocked off his horse by Bronn into the water that's right there. And it's fairly deep because they both start sinking. With Jaime's armor and gold-plated hand, probably not gonna really swim all that well. But we don't know, because that's where the credits hit. So, my opinion, this was a marvelous episode. Daenerys, proving her power. Cersei trying to entrench herself with the Iron Bank, trying to get them on her side to help continue funding the war. And this really lends to that it's going to be a bit of a bloody war, but they don't have much in the way of time, because very, very soon the Night King will show up and put an end to all this madness. So how soon, we really kind of can't say, because we don't know. But I can say this: I will see you all next week. Again, thank you for watching. See you next time.